Here comes the nasty gram.
Send a priest to save my soul, forget it.
Welcome back to the Nastogram RPG podcast. This is the beginning of our first sequel arc following up on the Ithaca Project. This is London Calling, Session 0.
Poison to the heart of a cynic redemption. Now I'm waking to pain.
Welcome back to the Nastogram RPG podcast. This is Josh. I'm going to be your handler in this new arc because we are using Delta Green. We are returning to the world of the Ithaca Project in a as yet unnamed arc, and joining us is the original cast. Say hello.
Dun, dun, dun.
Hello.
Hey there.
Do it better. Pretend you're on a podcast.
Like go around in a circle and stuff. Okay. I guess I'll go first.
Yep.
Hey there. This is Jake, and I'll be playing a character.
Hey, this is Devin, and I'm ready to fight fascism in the game, of course.
What's good, fam? Matt here. I'm excited about the game, not about the maths.
Hey, folks. Dan here, playing a secret agent man.
Well, fortunately, safe in the world of 2025, fascism is good and dead and buried. But we are returning to 1940. So this game, basically what I pitched to the players here is that we are stepping right back into the world of the Ithaca Project. And it is right around the same time frame, 1940, summertime. And all I told the players was that you are going to be part of a new kind of quasi-special operations, espionage behind enemy lines, commando kind of force based in the UK, run by the British, but that the players don't necessarily have to be British, that they are going to be obviously tasked with fighting the Nazi threat.
I'm going to be British, but with an American accent.
Perfect. You're not going to do your French accent.
Who knows? It's I'm going to roll each time.
Yeah, we'll get there.
And that's kind of what we started with, the idea that, for the most part, most of the historical background is accurate. So at the point of the game of the Ithaca Project, it was right after, Germany, World War II had started in Europe, obviously already raging in the Pacific. America has yet to enter the war. Germany had conquered Poland, then Denmark, Norway, the Low Countries, and during Ithaca, the fall of France was happening, and that's where there started to be a couple historical diversions, and then obviously the stuff that happened in Ithaca Project. So that's one thing kind of going into this game. The first kind of thing to talk about is that this isn't going to be the same thing. There isn't really like a big mystery reveal. The audience and the players, the jig is up. So part of me was like, oh, that's kind of a bummer. Like that's out of the way. But now we just, we get to enjoy the actual part of the game, which is what you guys are doing in that. So it is not going to be any kind of giant mystery. Obviously, for your characters, they are going to start to discover that there is some other stuff going on, probably. But that is not going to be the main point of the story. The point of the story is what is this group that's been selected to go on these missions? What are their experiences? How are they going to accomplish these missions? What are they going to do for the war effort? And how is it going to affect the characters' lives? I did debate when I first, I think we talked in the wrap-up.
You were so close. You were so close, Josh.
God damn it. When we talked in the wrap-up of the Ithaca Project, the original concept of this game was kind of this game that we're playing now. The original concept of the Ithaca Project was to start with this group in the UK going on these missions and then discovering shit was going on. And I was going to use a game that I love.
It's a real heartthrob.
That none of my shithole players ever want to play, called Spycraft.
Unrequited love.
Whoa.
Never heard of it.
In fact, Spycraft 2nd Edition, hailed as the best D20 modern system, no interest. And then all of the players then went and found this fucking dumbass game called Everyday Heroes that they're now playing in every other arc. So I shook in that. But the idea was it is a little bit more action. There is some really cool mechanics to it. But I was like, let's stick with the things we love about Delta Green. There's still going to be some action because you guys are going to be this team. It's not straight military commando style. It's kind of like a real, it's going to be modeled on what the British end up calling the SOE, Special Operations Executive, doing these missions that are quasi kind of special operations, quasi espionage stuff behind enemy lines, and using Delta Green and especially using the home scene. So this is going to be a more episodic nature. I kind of conceive, and we'll see how it goes, but each mission will probably only be, I picture as like 2 episodes. Will be the conduct of the mission, and then there'll be a home scene in between each one.
We'll try to ruin that for you.
Sure you will.
Easy.
There'll be a little downtime between most or all the missions, and we'll just see how it goes. And there'll be wrinkles that will come up from my end of things. But I really want this to just be more a story of the exploits, successes, and failures, and what these guys go through. Guys or gals. I'm assuming Devin's playing another lesbian. Third time's a charm. So yeah, that's my whole preamble off the bat. The only other thing I'll mention is that I'm batting around a couple homebrew tweaks to Delta Green to use for this. But before we get to that, I'll stop talking. And if you guys have sort of an initial, I know I pitched this a while ago, if you want to give an initial take on what you're picturing for your characters, and then we'll get into character creation and a little kind of, world building and mechanical tweak back and forth.
Should we read our blurbs?
If you've written a blurb and you want to go off that, absolutely. If you want to just pitch it from the gut, whatever you have. So who would like to go first?
I think Dan just volunteered
Okay.
by asking the question.
I think
Like
there's a
27
few of
minutes
us that
blurb.
have blurbs.
By the way, just for the record, for the open disclosed record for the listeners, it's great that Dan's volunteering to go first. He said this yesterday. Jake and Devin did send these weeks ago.
Well,
So just to give some credit.
He
Nice
did
job,
one, though.
Jake.
They all did one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, but you gave a little bit.
Don't mince this, all right?
It's okay.
All right.
It's not an intro that you didn't bring, Matt. We all know how we feel about those.
Go ahead. Stolen Valor. Go ahead, Dan.
Born in 1914 in southern England to a British mother and a Swedish father. His father was an industrialist visiting England where he met his mother. The family moved back to Sweden in 1929 to assume control over their manufacturing plants when his grandfather passed away. While living in Sweden, he was conscripted as part of Sweden's mandatory military service. During a routine training exercise, he was responsible for 2 other soldiers dying. In an effort to keep him out of the public eye, he was sent back to England to keep a low profile and attend university for a degree in art preservation and history. Guilt-ridden, his studies failed, and his direction changed. For the next 4 years, he led a string of successful heists until he was caught. In 1939, he was offered a commuted sentence to serve the SOE to track German looting and art theft in the Northern Theater. He speaks English, Swedish, and German. I didn't know you were actually going to use the SOE. It's cool.
Yeah. And your character name, of course.
No clue.
Okay.
Hurdy-gurdy.
You said English, Swedish, and German?
German, yep.
Languages are definitely going to be important.
Yep.
Um,
I wanted to throw French in there in case a French accent came out, but, shouldn't be greedy.
okay. So we have...
Swedish heart thief.
Yep.
Okay, I'll go.
Arthur Jorgen Borgensen.
I don't have a name yet either,
God.
but maybe Josh can think of a good stereotype name for my character too.
My last name's going to be Skarsgård.
Nice. Okay. My character is a German Romani. They call themselves the Sinti. Others call them Gypsies. You can call him insert name here.
Canceled.
Born in 1910 in Rhine, Germany, spent most of his life traveling with his family as a seasonal farm worker. So they would sort of travel to different climates for whatever was in season. Actually, this idea was kind of inspired by there's actually people around here that do that. They come up here and work the cranberry bogs, then they like travel down the coast all the way down to Florida to harvest the oranges.
I have a friend who did that in college. He traveled around the country and just stayed and worked on farms different seasons.
Yeah. So anyway, traveling seasonal farm worker in 1935. So when he was 25, his entire camp was arrested for being asocials, which is the term that was given to Romani during the World War II. He escaped and he hid from the Gestapo for 2 years until he was finally caught and sent to Buchenwald concentration camp. He spent a little over a year there doing hard labor in a munition factory while secretly building a bomb out of stolen munitions. In late 1938, he escaped by causing a major fire as a distraction, stole a truck full of explosives and an SS uniform, and started driving west. Being someone who was used to being on the road and knowing the roads just as well as any German soldier, he was able to evade capture and get all the way to, I don't know, probably
France.
Yeah. And cause a lot of havoc along the way. Yeah.
I like it.
So high concept is Mad Gypsy Bomber.
Mad Gypsy Bomber.
Yeah.
I like that.
So he's definitely a little unhinged from, spending some time in a concentration camp, seeing his entire family killed, all that shit. Real happy stuff.
I like that. I'm very, actually, especially fired up because I just, last few months, me and Lady watched Peaky Blinders.
Yeah.
And
Ooh, good show.
If you haven't seen it, the whole thing, the main family, the Shelbys are part gypsy.
Yeah.
Which is a cool
storyline
in it. All right.
I got mine. I'll start. My high concept is a British signaler and intelligence corps officer. He is a signals intelligence. He was a signals intelligence interpreter and operator during the Somme offensive in World War I. He was part of a group that was researching German telephone interception capabilities and experimenting with British and French interception capabilities. And at the Battle of Somme, the Allies captured it, and there were notes, there was information left behind about the German interception capabilities, and found that they were actually pretty equal in capability. But what was born out of that is a group called Int Corps, but I'll get to that later. He was the son of a German mother and a British father. He trained in France and was eventually transferred to the Royal Fusiliers, and that's where he served in the Battle of the Somme. He survived. Not a lot of people did. And by 1940, at this point, he is in that Int Corps and works as an intelligence officer, interpreting intelligence collected from German communications, feeding German units false information, and sneaking special units across enemy lines. And he is fluent in German.
English and German? English
and German. And I think I'm Josh. I'm very excited to be playing Delta Green, run by you. We've had some good experiences together. And to gamify a little bit, high signals intelligence complemented by high human intelligence is this character's strength. And he's older. I think he's going to be an older gentleman because he was an adult in World War I. He was a young adult.
So what do you think? Maybe early 20s in World War I?
Maybe mid-20s. Maybe he was in college at a university studying like mathematics and things like that. But yeah, very smart and gifted with the technology and understanding, how to interrupt and all this, technological stuff.
Cool. All right. You want to say if he's 24 at the outbreak of the war? So born in 1890 would make him 50 years old.
Cool.
Does that work for you?
Yep.
What has he been continuously in uniform service?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the things that they found out in World War I, he essentially stayed on, between World War I and World War II, working on this new technology on how to refine our own, defenses and things like that.
Okay.
And he met a lot of people that were sort of like him and other like veterans from World War I. And he knows how to talk to people in uniform. He's easily relatable, and that he uses that to his advantage, along with his German. He can talk with like a German person, or especially a uniformed officer, and get him to
True fluency.
Yes.
Okay.
Culturally, linguistically.
Yep.
How do you represent the number 3?
It depends on who I'm talking to.
Oh, you mean like what fingers do you put up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inglorious Bastards.
My character's native language is probably German.
Yep.
So I don't know what other, we'll see when I get to character creation. But
Yeah, it might make sense to have a number of languages depending on how much you traveled.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Matt,
YOLO.
what you got?
So I don't have a blurb like everybody else, but I have a name.
Oh.
He just came up with it while we were reading our blurbs.
Wrong. I'm insane. I always create my character's name first.
I love it.
It is Adrian Zaniewski. He is a Polak, born 1902. He is throughout his 38 years of life, he's been a engineer, soldier, and a farmer. But Eastern European, everybody has a tendency to be a farmer, especially in Poland at that time. I think it was there's some history there that I can't think of off the top of my.
The breadbasket of Europe.
Yeah, well, I think it was after the Polish Revolution. The man that took over was a general, but he basically went for an agrarian society. Is that how you say
Agrarian?
it? Agrarian society. So like everybody was incentivized to farm then. So everybody got land. Pretty much everybody went to go be a farmer for a while. And then everybody was like, oh man, we're going to take your land. And then they were like, that doesn't work.
All right. Do you think he was an active duty soldier at the outbreak of hostilities? Did he fight the Germans?
Yes.
Okay. And then escape. There was a number, and like I'm a history guy, and I'm gonna try to incorporate a lot of historical accuracies, and then we'll vary when we need to for story reasons. It doesn't matter. Plus, we're in a counterfactual scenario. But the Free Polish Forces did end up having a pretty significant role in the war during the Battle of Britain. I think the Polish squadrons actually had the highest kill ratio.
Nice.
During that engagement, then fought on. You ever seen Bridge Too Far, classic war movie? Gene Hackman plays, I think he's the commander of like a Polish parachute brigade in that movie.
Dope.
Pretty cool.
I'll have to rewatch that.
Losing listeners. All right. So you escaped on your own, you think, with your family? Any thoughts on that?
Family probably didn't make it out of Poland.
So one thing for everyone to keep in mind, and I know I just said my whole family was dead, but bonds are a big thing in this system. You're going to want to have a couple, so keep that in mind when you kill off your whole family before the game starts.
And they certainly can be gone, and you're going to have other bonds. But yeah, the home scenes and the bonds will definitely be a big part of that. So, all right, I like this group. This is kind of exactly what I was hoping for, like a group mixed nationalities, now kind of united in the fight. Everybody obviously has a reason out of either birth allegiance or personal experience to have a vendetta against the Nazis, and a very well-rounded team that could be sent a lot of places to try to get some shit done. This is what I was hoping you guys would come up with. So very cool. Before we get into mechanical character creation, any general questions from you guys about like anything you think you need to know from me before you start making your characters?
Yeah. So as I just said, bonds are important. I know you talked about doing a lot of home scenes. Do you see us having a geographical location that we're returning to between adventures?
Like a base, you mean?
Like a certain town or like, something like that.
Definitely going to start with one. We'll see if it's going to be consistent or, if it might move. But I think that could be a starting point for you guys. It could also be what I think would probably be easiest, because depending on the mission, you might be sent to different bases, different ways to get out. But probably as you're brought together, you're brought somewhere to train. And I'm thinking probably like English Midlands or maybe even up towards Scotland, somewhere a little bit more remote. Let's just say Scotland, because I think that's kind of cool. There's a lot of, especially
Shetland
then,
Islands.
some really remote stuff where they did actually train a lot of commandos and stuff like that. So we'll say that probably at the start of the game, you guys have already spent some time training, and we can kind of decide. I want to hear your input if you guys want to have your characters kind of know each other pretty well, or have you trained together, or have you kind of been doing some kind of individual training, or you know what I mean? Like, do you basically want to get acquainted on screen, or do you want to have some background? Regardless, you guys will have been in this kind of training pipeline for, a little bit of time, weeks or months, before we take off.
I guess what I'm trying to imagine is how the home scenes are going to work. Like, are you going to say, what do you guys do like after the mission's over? Like, you've like in the next 3 weeks or whatever,
Yep.
like could, like, what is that going to look like? Is it going to look like we're in the same town all the time, or we kind of split up and go our own ways?
I think you could definitely be splitting up. There might be times either because of a planned mission, like a follow-up mission where, you can't be gone that long and maybe you are a little closer, but especially if it's a cool character-driven thing, you guys are going to have the opportunity to get out, to get liberty. And, and even regular soldiers would have that. And you guys are far from regular soldiers.
Yep.
You guys are going to have a lot more independence and trust. So it would definitely be feasible for you guys to kind of take off and do your own thing. So
Okay.
when it comes to home scenes, that could potentially kind of open it up a little bit.
I mean, when we're higher level and we have like teleport, it won't.
Right. It'll be easy.
Yeah.
Somebody can do wind walk and
Yeah.
Do we have to kill an air elemental first?
I wrote that into my background.
the air elementals are actually allied with the Soviet Union. So it would be
So they are bad.
questionable. Well, those are allies.
They're allies, yeah.
So when we're thinking of who these bonds are and where they're located, any suggestions, any advice on that?
My suggestions would be they would be in England, for sure. In the UK, if there's anybody you want to have a direct face-to-face with, it is possible to have remote bonds. Remember back in Ithaca Project, some of you guys, I know Dan's character, the main bond he kind of connected with was his partner.
Yep.
And so those scenes could be done by letter writing or flashbacks or whatever. So, it's not, don't feel you have to be forced geographically. But I do picture most scenes returning to the UK. But also,
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. Anybody else? Anything else to discuss?
Not off the rip.
No, I'm good. I know most of the stuff we'll get into once we start anyways.
All right. One other thing to mention to you guys is I do actually envision having some guests on for this arc for a couple reasons. We have a nice, tight, established group. We ran Ithaca before, 4 players, very manageable. Having a 5th player at the table is a cool way to, throw in a wrinkle. It's great because it could, also really open up, like if there's a mission that you guys are really good for, but there's one kind of key missing thing, boom. I throw in a NPC who's played by a guest who can kind of now open up the one thing that kind of would make that mission hard for you guys to accomplish. Cool to get some people back on the pod that we've heard before or not heard before. So,
that would be a PC then, Josh, if someone's playing it.
Sure. A guest run player character.
GPC.
GPC?
Okay. So, if we are ready then, you guys have character sheets in front of you. Let me mention a couple of the tweaks. One thing I think the same thing we do with Ithaca is replacing a couple skills. Computer science, we're going to replace with the kind of generic term technology. That is really kind of referring to cutting edge, high tech at the time technology. Obviously you have electrical, under.
Can I be a jet engineer?
Sure. That would fall under that, for example. It's probably not a skill most of you will have, but maybe somebody will. And in the past, we've replaced a cult. Now that you guys, have peeked behind the curtain by playing Ithaca, there is kind of an occult element. Obviously, it's sort of veiled in super science. Do you think we should keep the occult skill?
We should call it something like extraordinary.
I mean, that's kind of in there as unnatural, but that's sort of a Delta Green.
Oh, unnatural and occult. That's right. Occult is like the knowledge and like
occult is like in the real world, people have occult knowledge because it's not necessarily, knowing how a Ouija board works or what certain, pagan rituals,
beliefs. Yeah.
A lot of the traditional gypsy beliefs might fall under occult in that sense. And there's, a semi-vague line that you can draw in your game of how much of that is real. But occult represents knowledge of things that, cultures and stuff might have believed in. So do we want to keep that in there?
I think we should. Yeah.
Okay.
Weird. Like, what would be the religion? There's not really a skill for that, huh?
Yeah.
Might be history, but
what would be?
Would it be a cult?
I guess it could be. I mean, it could fall under history.
It's. I was just.
It's kind of an interesting one. Yeah.
I was just wondering because I'm like, a cult. One man's a cult is another man's religion. But it's weird that there's no religion score.
True.
Yeah.
I would say kind of depending on how you interpret it, it could be history or cult, or even art.
Could it be human?
Human is more like directly
that's
reading people.
What's unnatural?
Unnatural.
That's like the real,
like supernatural.
when we get attacked by vampires, that'll be unnatural.
Right. Josh, do you have
like a guy that lives in a cloud?
Flying spaghetti monster?
Do you have a date for the game?
It's definitely 1940. Probably summer. It might be actually concurrent with Ithaca Project. I think I might start it kind of around the same time Ithaca starts, which is probably May, June of 1940, which is when Germany is invading France and Low Countries. Ithaca actually ended with France falling, and there was some stuff that was mentioned at the end that could be happening. but I think we're going to kind of run it at the same time. So definitely one thing is that none of your characters or even the top elements of British leadership is not going to know about what happened in the Ithaca Project, either because it hasn't happened yet or been communicated across the pond. The skill we replaced a cult with in the past was Streetwise, which I thought was kind of a lacking skill. Do we feel the need to put that in if we're keeping a cult?
Well, I think Streetwise and occult are different things.
No, they are 100%. But I'm saying in Ithaca Project, we just got rid of a cult completely. We put a new skill called Streetwise. Now that we're keeping a cult, do we still think we need to keep a Streetwise role, or do you think that is covered enough under other skills?
I mean, I feel like Streetwise is very useful because it's like the urban survival in a lot of ways, right? And if we're going to be in those settings, I think it's a useful skill for us to have.
But it's a tough one when you're traveling around all of Europe, because like Streetwise in one place shouldn't really apply to another.
And maybe for you guys, Streetwise is going to be more doing the work through your other skills, human, search, things like that, to gather the information, which would give you
right.
What about tradecraft? Think something like picking a lock or propping a door so that no one notices, hiding a key, and then using it sort of on the investigative side.
Most of that, I think, is actually under. Would that be under not criminology? I guess that's.
I think
more,
it's covered by a lot of different things depending on what you're doing, and I think
true.
it might be too broad.
Yeah.
And just allow people to be like, well, can I roll tradecraft?
Yeah, and there are.
Could be special training.
Yeah, there is other skills like lock
Yeah.
picking. I think is actually specifically mentioned in the book as a specific skill that isn't covered, because obviously you don't want a skill for every single thing. Like I think they mention the two I think of offhand is actually lock picking and like skydiving. As like you don't really need like a specific skill like listed out on everybody for that, but if you have it, then you can write that down. So yeah, let's leave Streetwise off. So the only one we're replacing is computer science with technology. There's two other homebrew rules I was thinking of throwing in there. This is not going to be a combat heavy game, but conflict is definitely going to be possible and or inevitable at certain times. Delta Green is extremely deadly, and I like that element. I think I want to make a couple tweaks that are part to add an element of survivability, but also an element of, I don't want to say heroism, because you guys are still very, very, very mortal. But let's say kind of enhanced player agency. So one, for the survivability, in Delta Green, at rules as written, your hit points are the average of your strength and constitution. When you get to 2, you're unconscious. When you get to 0, you are permanently dead. The change I was thinking about making is when you go to 0, you are unconscious. You are permanently dead when you are negative half of your hit points. And if you are negatives, you are bleeding out. And there'll be a roll to stabilize, which will be a your con minus 5% for every negative you have. I know that sounds complicated. Let's say you have 12 hit points. You're permanently dead at -6. If you're at -3, the next round you're going to go to -4. If your con is 60 and you have to roll to stabilize, you're at -3, you minus 15. So you're rolling to stabilize with a con of 45, or another player making a first aid. What do you guys think about that?
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, gives us a fighting chance.
Cool. Okay. So, yeah, on hit points, it shows maximum current. So just in your maximum, put a slash line, which will be your full and your deadline. So 12 would be -6, 10 will be -5, and that will be rounded up. So 11 will be a -5. The other thing is I wanted to have a way to enhance a roll. In Delta Green, you have variables which might add or subtract the difficulty. That's part of the rules. You're shooting and it's very low visibility. You might have a -20 to your firearms. You're at point blank range, +20. That's good. But something more, honestly, I want something that I can reward you guys with, that you can redeem to roll. There's two ways I thought of doing this. One is a sense of advantage. I think I'm actually pulling both of these from Call of Cthulhu rules. I don't know what they call it actually in Call of Cthulhu, but when you roll with, we'll call it advantage or disadvantage, you roll the tens die. So every roll is percentile, right? So you're rolling a tens die and a singles die. When you roll with advantage or disadvantage, you would roll 2. And advantage take the lower, right? Because we're trying to get lower. Advantage take the higher. And these aren't necessarily mutually exclusive, but maybe they are. The other one is something that is optional rule in Call of Cthulhu called luck. It is a luck score. You have a starting number, which I'm not sure how it's determined. We might just call it 50 to start with. At the beginning of every session, you make a luck roll. If you fail, you roll above your current luck, you regain 1d10 luck. If you succeed, you gain no luck. You can use luck after you roll on a 1-for-1 basis to lower your roll. So your firearms is 45. You roll to shoot the Nazi. You roll a 52. There's no other modifier, so you have to make a 45. You can spend 7 points of luck to get it down to a 45 and make it a success. There's cool things about both. Luck is a little bit more like, it's very transactional. So there's a little bit less drama to it. It's like a resource you can use. It refreshes to some extent. But it's kind of, it does take some drama away, but it gives you a very tangible way when push comes to shove of like, if you need to spend fucking 40 points because it's like a life or death and, you need a 40 and you roll a fucking 80 and you have 42 points of luck, you can spend 40 points all in that one roll. And it's a guaranteed success. The other way is a much more like, if I say, you have this inspiration, you have whatever these points, and you can use it ahead of the roll to roll with advantage. Adds a little bit of drama, enhances your chances, but it's still no guarantee. What do you guys think?
There's also no guarantee that the handler will hand out these inspiration points, by the way. I've experienced this.
There's an accusatory look being sent around
I'm not
the
looking
table.
at anyone in
I
particular.
know you're not looking at everyone's favorite.
DM, I would never.
What happens if you get to 0 luck? You die.
I don't think anything happens at 0 luck.
Yeah, I think you just have no luck.
Yes, but so your next roll, you'd be
get it
guaranteed
automatically.
to succeed. You roll a d10, but that's it. That's all it refreshes per session. So, if you do that thing, you spend 40 points, you get down to 2 points, it's going to be multiple sessions before you have much of a pool.
I guess the only thing it does in a weird, like from a game mechanics point of view, it does give you pretty much the best version of your roll, right? Because it's just going to dip below your threshold, which is arguably the best you can do.
Would we also make a little amendment that you can't? Can you use luck? If you succeed, can I use 2 points of luck to take my 35 to a 33 and get a critical success?
No.
Okay, good. I think that is a good.
You could do it in Call of Cthulhu because they have different rules. They
Extreme
have
hard success and extreme. Yeah.
Dan makes a good point. If it's a contested roll,
I guess
it makes luck
very
a lot
powerful.
better.
But the problem, or I guess the only caveat to that, now that I'm thinking about it, is that they can still have a higher score than you and could roll higher yet under their threshold.
Right. In that case, it wouldn't help you.
Yeah.
If you have a firearm, you have a dodge of 40. They have a firearms of 60. They have a 55 success.
Sure.
Nothing you can do there.
Right. So I guess it is kind of, balanced in that way.
I'm a little worried that it might be too powerful.
Which one? The luck?
The luck. Yeah.
It is very powerful, but it's finite.
How often are you going to refresh it? Every
luck?
Yeah.
Or the other one?
Luck.
Luck, once per session. Episode for us. Once per episode, you roll, and the only way you're getting any back is if you fail the roll, and then you're getting anywhere from 1 to 10 points back.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you can roll, just by averages, you're not going to make a ton of luck points back.
No.
Sure, true. But as it gets lower, you're more likely to get it back.
There's the thing about it that I like is that if you are like, for my character,
Yep.
I want to fucking succeed at this role no matter what. Unless your luck is low enough, you have a pretty good shot of making that happen. But it does, again, it becomes much more transactional. You're spending a resource versus the other one. They come and go. It gives me a fun way to kind of reward. Luck, I don't think I would ever reward. It's just it's gonna refresh the way it does. So
I like it in Cthulhu. I think it's a good system. It's also, I think, it's used too of it's Time for Chaos. They use it a lot as do you have this thing with you? And it's like, well, roll your luck. Well, if you've been spending your luck and your luck is mad low, oh man, this thing that would really help right now, roll your luck. See if you have it. Yeah, you don't have it.
That is a fun way to do it too, is that you can use it for like a kind of random determination of things.
Oh yeah, that's true. And if it's lower, yeah. Are you going to let us use it for sanity rolls?
I don't think you can in
Yeah.
Cthulhu.
I mean, we can decide that. I would lean towards no.
Because there are other ways to mitigate sanity loss.
Right, you can defer it on your bonds. And I think that the handling of sanity damage with bonds, and I think that's a pretty integral part of Delta Green.
Yep.
So I think that would be separate.
Okay.
By the way, I was just scanning the skills, and it looks like religion is under anthropology.
Oh.
Study of living human cultures.
That makes sense.
Use it to understand morals, religious beliefs, customs.
Cool.
Yeah.
Mores.
I'm down for using the luck thing. It's easier on you. It's kind of like a resource we can draw off of.
Yeah.
I would say just like, I don't know, my fear's just the fact that it might make things too easy or make things succeed too much, but I guess we'll see. And if
We'll see.
I mean,
you need to, just send a fucking superhero after us that drains our luck,
Well, I think even if we use it all up in the beginning to succeed right away, then none of us have any luck, and then you're not succeeding spending it, and so you can build it back up again.
Yeah. It can, if you wear it all down, it's going to take a long time to build up.
Is it, do they call it, is it a D100? But the 100 roll, sometimes you're off by 30 points, and it's I got 20, it's not huge. And I think in Cthulhu, I think you roll to determine your starting luck. But I could be wrong.
Interesting. Okay. Let's vote on it.
I vote yay.
Well, it's one or the other. The luck or the advantage. And I'll say if we do the advantage thing, which will be I give you a token, you could also, you got to use it before a roll, but you can also force me to use disadvantage on a roll. So if it's that, with luck, you can't do anything to the baddies. It's only going to deal with your own rolls. With the other version, you can affect your roll or cash it in to give disadvantage. So, Dan.
Yeah, I go luck.
Luck.
I'm surprised. I like it. I'm down with it. I actually I thought you guys would go the other way. I wasn't, I was generally kind of torn between the two. So, we will do luck. Let's put that, on your character sheet, right up. Let's do it right up at the very top over everything. above where it says Delta Green, just write luck. And then you're going to have that number in pencil. Here's the fun part. We'll circle back to this. Do we want it to start at 50 or do we want it to start with a D100 roll?
D100 roll.
D100 roll.
Yeah, sure. Come on.
I love
Yeah,
that.
it's fun.
Okay.
Can I use luck on that roll?
All right. So that out of the way, let's get to actual character creation. The first thing we're going to talk about are your attributes. I think you guys, do you think everybody can give me, and I don't even know if it's on the character sheet necessarily, but Jake gave me a high concept. Do you think everybody else could give a one phrase high concept for your character before we even start putting pen to paper? Jake, what was yours again?
Mad Gypsy Bomber.
Mad Gypsy Bomber. A, 2 to 6 word descriptor.
Failed art thief student.
Chef. Swedish Chef is Muppets, right?
Hurdy-gurdy.
Devin or Matt?
British signaler and intelligence corps officer. He's a spy with a desk.
Matt, if you don't have one right now, put a pin in it and we'll circle back to it.
Word.
Okay, so statistics. Most of you guys are familiar listening. There's 6. It's pretty close to D&D. Strength, constitution, dexterity, intelligence, power, which is very close to willpower or wisdom.
Wisdom, yeah.
And charisma. I think we are going to use the 72-point version. So you have 72 points. You can divide them up how you want, or a couple. They're actually pretty good. There's 3 broken down ones if you want to look page 19 of the Agent's Handbook, which they all add up to 72, but they're described as well-rounded, focused, or highly focused. So, if you don't want to do all the math out and you kind of just think of your character in one of those ways, the concept of a well-rounded, is a journeyman. My recollection, or not my recollection, my interpretation of Jake's character might fall into that, versus like an academic might fall onto the more highly focused, where you're fucking pale and frail, but you're very, very smart. So whichever one you want to do, pick one of those sets of statistics or do the math. It's going to add up to 72 total. If you have an 8 or below, or a 13 or above, you are going to want a 1 or 2 word distinguishing feature for that statistic. Some examples for strength, weak or muscular, dexterity, clumsy or nimble, power, low, nervous, high, strong-willed. But you can kind of make these your own.
What were the ranges again? You said
8 or below, or 13 or above. So 9 to 12 is, they describe as kind of in the realm of human average. A 12 would be on the upper end. 13 is where you really start to get well above average population.
I took one of the prescribed ones. I took focused.
I'm going to take that one too, I think.
Yeah, I like focused. I get a 15, a 14, a 12, an 11, and 2 10s. My mental stats are definitely higher than my physical ones.
And probably not as important with statistics, but when we get to skills, I do want you guys to metagame a little bit, just slightly, in filling in some of the blanks. Obviously, from your just kind of what you already said about your character, you probably have a pretty good idea of the things you're best at. But when we get there, I want you guys to think about the skills this kind of team would need and kind of try to make sure at least somebody is pretty good at all of them. That just, enables me to put you in a bigger variety of circumstances.
One, I noticed that we, at least the current description, may not apply, and I don't know how it would apply now, is forensics.
forensics would be, let's say you break into a German officer's mess after hours, and
It's more like investigation. Yeah?
basically,
Yeah. Okay.
physical investigation to determine what happened.
Yep.
Whereas search would be, physical investigation to find a thing.
Yep. The description is a much more modern description in the agent's book. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Again, it might not be a skill that you guys find relevant or would find.
Well, I'm a criminal, so then again, I'm not very
I
criminal.
would need to read the descriptions again of criminology to forensics. I guess criminology is more like patterns and.
I didn't even see that one.
We're not there yet. Are you guys still working on statistics?
I'm good for statistics.
I'm good as well.
Good.
Done. I did math.
Matt has a exception because he has a character name.
I got one now too.
I also have 2 bonds. I don't know if you want any of that.
Let's hold off on that. We're definitely going to be talking about bonds. So from your statistics, we can do some derived attributes. So your hit points are your strength and con, basically averaged, added together, divide by 2, round up. Let me make sure I'm right on that.
Strength.
So if you have a 13 strength, a 12 con, 25 divided by 2, 12 and a half, round up is 13. You have a 12 and a 10, it's 22, divided by half, it's 11. So 11 hit points. And then again, with our new house rule, the old final death, next to your maximum, put a slash. The slash will be negative half of your hit points. And that one will be rounded down. So if you have 11 hit points, you will have -5 as your death threshold. Right. Your willpower equals your. Oh, and I'm sorry. Before we even get to that point, make sure you, on your statistics, you have your score and then your ×5. So when we have to roll actually in game for any of your statistics, it's just your stat ×5. So 10's a 50, 12's a 60, etc. So your willpower is your actual POW score. So if you have a 12 POW, you have 12 willpower points. Your sanity is your POW ×5. So your sanity, your willpower should be equal to your actual power score. Your sanity points starting and your max is your POW ×5. Everybody good with me?
Mm-hmm.
Your breaking point under sanity is your maximum sanity points minus your POW score. So if you have a 12 POW ×5, 60, that's your max sanity. Your breaking point would be 48, your max minus your POW score. Okay, so that's the easy stuff. The meat of the mechanics are going to be our skills. There's a couple ways to do this. The easiest way is Delta Green presents a large and varied number of professions. These give you a starting score base. Now, you'll also see, and again, you guys might remember this, even the listeners, but on your skills, after the skill in parentheses, there's a score number. That is your starting minimum. This is under the assumption that you are a Delta Green agent. Obviously, you guys aren't Delta Green agents, but you're, agents, officers of another kind. I think they're a decent baseline. However, I will say that I'm open to you guys changing the minimums. I would ignore them for now. What we're going to do is we're going to go through, actually putting your stats in. And then basically let's look at anything you didn't put points in. And if you find that the accounting minimum of 10 just doesn't make any sense. There's no way, you're completely uneducated. You've never had a bank account, your accounting should be 0. We can move that 10 minimum to something else that you currently have a 0 in that makes a little bit more sense. for your character. Everybody good with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, looking through the book, there's 2 books out there, and then we got it on the drive for you guys to look at. All sorts of things. This gives you anthropologist, historian, engineer, federal agent, physician, special operator, scientist, firefighter, criminal, foreign service officer, intelligence analyst, business executive, lawyer, case officer, media specialist, nurse, police officer, pilot, program manager. And I think there's even another further down, right, Devin? There's even more specialized things. I think there's actually a bunch of specialized ones for military specific. So if you guys have a military background, there's some really specific ones in light of that. And if you cannot find one which you feel is a good baseline for your character, then there is building a new profession and how to do that. Know that this gives you a pretty good spread of your initial assets, but you will have after this an ability to add some more points to customize your guy a little bit more. So those are starting on page 20.
I'm going intelligence analyst. It's like it's like a
Pretty right on.
pretty right on.
Pretty right on. And if anybody wants to see, I don't know, probably none of you guys, unless Matt wants to. But in this book, they're under federal agencies on page 106. And again, these are U.S. specific, but you can probably find a corollary. It goes through every kind of branch of the military, every federal agency. If you want to know what a EPA agent might have for a starting skill base, you can do that. So Devin, what did you say? Intelligence analyst?
Yep, intelligence analyst.
Anybody else find one that they felt was applicable?
Criminal.
Analyst, criminal.
Computer scientist, engineer, obviously engineer aspect of that, but there's a few things that don't, like craft microelectronics, craft electrician. I don't think he's
Yep.
more mechanical engineer than like.
Sure. So let's, and some of these do give you choices, right?
Yeah, science,
Yeah.
art, foreign language.
So in this one, it gives you, the craft microelectronics wouldn't, I'd say the other ones probably make sense. Computer science, obviously not. That's replaced with technology.
Yep.
It will give you, probably you and Devin will have a bit of overlap, right? Because you're both going to have, well, at least Sigan. I don't know. Devin, do you have computer science, any crafts?
I have anthropology, bureaucracy, computer science, criminology, 3 foreign languages, history, humans, and SIGINT, and they're all above 40.
Okay. So again, not to not use it, but you guys will have a few overlaps in significant skills.
And we're just filling in the skill list that they say in the percentile next to it.
For first, yeah. Make sure you do this in pencil because you're going to be able to modify these to either add to them or other skills. Not to dissuade you from that, Matt, but you talked about being soldier, farmer, engineer.
Yeah, I think I might have to just
Engineers,
build my own.
Build your own. You sound like a guy who's kind of done a lot of things in life. So build your own might kind of fit you better, I think, honestly.
400 points.
Just look at them in blocks. You know what you could do is just look at the profession, write down all their percentiles, just the numbers, and just assign those numbers to the ones you want. And then
They don't all add up to that. No way.
no.
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, it's a baseline for the kind of person he wants to be.
Well, but I mean, I don't know. I was just looking at foreign service officer, and I'm like, damn, they get way less skills than everyone else.
I'm looking at, what did you say it was 400 points, Matt?
Yeah, it says
100, 200.
Building a new profession,
290.
professional skills. Pick 10 professional skills for the new profession. Divide 400 skill points between them.
Yeah.
Add those points to each
Okay,
skill
no.
starting level. As a rule of thumb, professional skills should be 30 to 50. No professional skill may be higher than 60.
Yeah, off the rip, they look pretty comparable. Like you just add
Looks
them
like
up.
they have more.
Yeah, almost.
I mean, the criminals got way more.
Some of them,
200,
they might
290.
they might kind of
310,
weight some of them that they consider aren't going to come up in game as often.
Yeah, criminal has 500.
Choo.
The other thing I'd be good with, Matt, if you liked engineer,
Firefighters got 500 too.
and you wanted to,
I don't know.
let's look at. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot that are kind of.
What?
Matt, I don't want to make decisions for your character in any way. But if you look at,
I only have 300.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you get to pick how many bonus skills do you get to pick?
I think it's just 80 points all around.
it might be affected by your bonds too. In general,
I have 3 bonds.
yeah, if you have less bonds, you might have more points. And again, some of these skills, like bureaucracy, they might kind of weight lower. Just versus some skills that they feel are going to come up in the game more often. Matt, maybe take a look down on page. Nothing like a PDF without page numbers.
What is SIG again?
24, 25.
Signals intelligence.
Encryption, that sort of stuff.
Nope. Ain't got that. And human.
Look on page 26. Human is basically insight in D&D terms, reading people.
Into human behavior.
Human psychology. Behavior.
Is somebody lying? Is somebody hiding something? Does somebody look suspicious? That's when you'd roll human. Look on page 26, Matt. If you want to look at soldier, and if you think that's closer, and then maybe swapping out a few of those skills for, things that represent your background more. Taking a few of the more combat focused things away and adding things that are more. And again, we're still going to have some points to throw around at the end. These are, picking a profession is the base of your character, the things that you have the most experience with.
So Dan, because I was also thinking about taking criminal. What do you think your character is good at? He's not good at being a thief.
he did run. He was the kind of way he was going to get caught was more the fact that he got ratted out more than he was a bad thief. I think he was successful for a number of years, like 4 or 5 years, and because I kind of imagined that his reputation was good enough that the SOE was like, "Hey, we've heard about this guy. We caught him and we have him. Why don't we use him?" So
They call that white hat, like hackers.
Yeah. I mean, again, I do not want to push you guys to make character decisions too much away from what you guys have conceived of, but you really need to be well-rounded. So, having 2 guys that are both great at code breaking is going to be a waste. Having 2 guys that are really good at picking locks and breaking into places, a little bit of a waste.
Well, I was not going to. Well, yeah, I was going to take criminal, but I wasn't going to take lockpicking. I was just going to take it because,
like I said, I'm pretty flexible. If you want to build your own or you want to pick one, Dan, you could even look at, historian or anthropologist and replacing,
some of
not
them
having all the academics.
Okay. Yeah.
But again,
Jake, why don't we both say we're going to take criminal, but then we'll just kind of coordinate on some of the stuff.
Was there like a particular skill or two that like you were planning on being really good at?
I hadn't gone. I thought about being someone who could do forgeries and things like that, but I didn't know how useful that would be in this setting. So
definitely, you're going behind enemy lines. You guys are going to be. Let me do this too, because I've been very vague about it, but conceptually, and the reason I haven't done a ton of specific prep, I have all these kind of general ideas in mind, and I'm going to build the missions kind of to suit these characters because they would be sent on missions that these characters would be thought to be successful at. You could be sent to assassinate a German general on leave in Paris. You could be sent to investigate a new high secret construction project taking place on the Western French coast. You could be sent to sabotage an airfield or radar station in Normandy. You could be sent to try to locate a double agent in Belgium. You could be sent to break into the French Vichy government, Nazi-aligned government headquarters to find some government papers. You could be sent to infiltrate a high society party in Denmark, joined by members of the nobility and high-ranking German officials and aristocrats. I could throw out 100 missions, and obviously you guys aren't going to be good at all of them. But in every mission, what you should think about is that each of you guys is going to have a certain key role to play. That's what I want this game to be like. When you guys get the mission, you're going to look at it and you're going to think, what is the thing that my character is going to be crucial in accomplishing this mission? And that's why I'm really trying to push you guys to be diverse, because that's why you've been brought together. That's why the glorious King of England and Prime Minister Churchill,
Long live the king,
are entrusting their full faith and confidence and resources in sending you on these missions. You are not a commando team. You are not a straight assassination squad. You are a group of diverse individuals with different backgrounds, skills, and experiences that can get in and out of different places. Generally, all of them are going to be behind enemy lines. So some overlap in the ability to blend in, hide, whether that's by, you have the ability to put on a uniform and act like a German officer, and you know all the customs and the language, whether it's because you can forge the papers and look like, and you have the background to be a Polish merchant traveling with machine parts. Each of you are going to have to kind of have that element too, or just staying out of sight until it's time to get the mission done.
Jake, I mean, I think the stylistically, how I imagine my guy is like a B&E and forgeries is
okay.
Kind of his.
And I see my guy as being someone who is generally resourceful, even when you can drop him off in the middle of Germany with nothing, and he's going to be like, "Oh, we're just going to walk down to this town. I know this guy. He's gonna give us a truck, and then we're gonna take it down this road, and I know this other place."
I just saw a homebrew rule on like a D&D thread, and one of his homebrew rules is called "I know a guy."
Oh yeah,
and it's like a whole thing. Like people can roll somehow to determine the value of the NPC that they.
So I took criminal, and then for the two that you can choose, the two skills you can choose, I took demolition and navigation.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to probably do craft, locksmithing, and forgery.
And I'm probably, Josh, if you don't mind, I'm going to drop law and criminology because I'm not really a criminal and I don't really know the laws nor care to follow them, and replace them with something else. Since they're both kind of less more thinky things. I was actually thinking maybe just languages for both of them.
Very cool.
So criminology, criminals get a 60. and then law they get a 20. So like I'll know a couple languages. I'll be really good at.
I think I'm also I had thought of this just because it's this kind of game, and I want you guys to be well rounded, but also absolutely not worry about linguistics. I'm going to give everybody a bonus language, and you can choose. Let me look at
What do you have? What's like your native language? Like what do you write that down as a language? Do you have a score in that?
I didn't write down Polish.
Everyone outside of whatever we do with character creation can take a language, an additional language at 50, which means you can speak completely fluently with no discernible accent. You sound exactly like a native. Or 2 languages at 30 that you can communicate pretty easily in, but you are clearly a foreign language speaker. So just make a note of that. That bottom corner, foreign languages and other skills. In addition to whatever you get, don't worry about spending points on that. If you want to use this, you still want to use stuff to get languages, but you want to use this to get extra languages. That's great. But I don't want you guys to be hamstrung by that part.
Sounds good.
So you guys are both doing criminal?
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to make a difference.
Okay. So we get criminal with some modifications.
I'll probably do some modifications towards the art history stuff.
I would call mine nomad.
Okay. All right. I like that. We'll call Jake nomad. Devin intelligence analyst. Dan we'll call art criminal. Art thief.
Artful dodger.
Matt, did you settle on anything? Did you find one that you think works, or are you building up?
I think I'm going to go with a modified soldier.
Okay.
So
Like T-1000?
it doesn't make any sense for him to have much in bureaucracy.
Yep.
Because he's an educated peasant, but I don't think he really went to like college to learn mechanics. It was, he was
Blue collar.
Yeah, he was 13 when World War I broke out. 14 when he started like bringing tank shells to people when he was a kid and like learned how to fix stuff and do yada yada yada.
Right.
And,
yeah, because you were born. So yes, you were 16 when the war ended.
Yeah.
So maybe you were still kind of serving a sport role or lying about your age and maybe even kind of getting involved and then getting called back up when Second War broke out or was about to.
And also, so bureaucracy and persuade would probably be the 2 I would drop off of soldier.
Okay.
And then pick up, you get to choose 3, craft, add craft mechanic.
Cool.
I picked up a foreign language. So I'll use your thing to get English for free. And then
you want to be fluent?
Yeah, he'll be fluent in English.
Okay.
And then he'll also have a 40 in Russian.
Okay, nice.
And then I have to pick 2 more skills.
And if you want, let me just throw this to you. For language, English, if you want to be perfectly fluent, it's great. You're going to be able to blend in better in England. That might end up being a thing that is important. But you could also take the 2 at 30 where
I do English and German. It probably would make more sense, actually. For the
where
2 at 30.
if you're speaking English or you're speaking German, people know you're not a native speaker, but you can still communicate.
Yeah, I'll go with that. And then, 2 more skills, and I'm kind of on the fence. Maybe picking up an extra craft something, maybe craft electronics.
I'm going to call that just electrical. I'm going to kind of blend that in together. unless it's very high tech electronics.
I
Like
don't think he would be high tech electronics.
call it craft electrical, because that means
lick your fingers and
yep.
twist two wires together, and if I get a shock, then we're good to go. Craft electronics.
All right. So in addition to that, you get some bonus skills. And I think, what do we have? 80 points? Is that it?
Yep.
Where are we here? Where does it? And to give everybody a background on this, and for the listeners as well, when you're talking about a rating, and again, you guys know this is the score when you're rolling. You have to get at or under this skill to succeed. A lot of times in Delta Green, you're not going to need to roll. If it's something that you have the skill rating that is equivalent to the task that you're doing, if you're balancing a checkbook and you have an accounting of 10 and you're just sitting there, you can just do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you are rapidly flipping through the books in, a
Mob boss's tax book.
while the security guards are patrolling outside and you're trying to quickly get an assessment, then you're going to be rolling. But what these skills generally represent, under 20, you're a dabbler. 20 to 29, dedicated hobbyist, or foreign language, you can have rudimentary conversations. 30 to 39, college minor, basic training. 40 to 59, college major or years of experience. 50 in a language, you'd have native fluency. 60 to 79, decades of experience, graduate doctoral degree. Anything above that, a lifetime pursuit, top of the field kind of thing. When you are done, after you're professional, this is great. You get a lot of juice here. You pick 8 skills and add 20.
Wow.
So it's actually 60, 160 rather, that you're doing. So here you do need to look at that number in parentheses. So if it's a skill you already took under profession, you can add 20. Nobody can start with anything higher than 80. And even that is a stretch. I think having a higher than 70 in anything is, maybe you do, but
maybe he, as someone who's 50 plus years old in encryption or something, he's
Devin's
been studying it his whole
world-renowned.
life. Yeah.
Devin may have an 80 in SIGINT. That would be, and even
I
doesn't have
have
to.
I have everything. It's mostly 40s and 50s, a couple of 60s, a couple of 20s, couple things in 30s.
Matt, are you going to be a really good driver?
I got a 40 in drive, but I probably will take some of those extra points to boost it.
But if you are putting any of these, when you get profession, you're replacing that score with your profession score. When you're adding your bonus points, if it's a skill, so for dodge, it shows 30. That's your base skill. If your profession gives you 50, it's 50. It's not 80. But when you're adding your bonus, you're adding it to that base. So if you want to put 20 into dodge and you haven't gotten any from profession, that brings that base 30 up to a 50.
Wow. Really?
Fucking great.
That's great.
And how many of these can you do?
8.
Fucker.
I have mine all done. You want to
This
hear
is
'em?
where you get really well-rounded.
Can I read mine off while people are allocating?
So I want to do it a little differently.
Okay.
Because what I want to do
Is
is
this all the points? Are we? Sorry. This is
everything.
Okay.
Yep. You can if you want, but what I was going to do is go skill by skill, and especially I want to know who has the highest in it, and I also
Cool.
want to know skills that nobody has anything in,
Okay.
because I'm going to kind of star that on my sheet of
How should I screw them?
if nobody has demolitions, I know somebody will because we have a Mad Gypsy bomber. But if they were going to go on a demolition mission, that's when I need to. So if there's a skill with nobody has anything in it, don't worry too much about it. That just lets me know, cool, this is a place where I can put that GPC into the slot.
I do have another question. So with my intelligence analyst profession package, I have 3 languages at 50, or so 2 at 50, 1 at 40. Instead of taking the 4th language at 50 or the 2 ones at 30, could I take special training in one of my languages? In German, sort of their military terminology?
Yes. Yeah, we'll call that a
So it would be like a plus 20 boost or whatever if I'm ever rolling a German language skill pertaining to that particular thing.
or star it, and if you're doing something like, let's say you're rolling a bureaucracy that's relevant,
I can use that special training. Cool.
to give you a boost in that. So, and actually, yeah. So on foreign languages and other skills, because we have a multinational team, write your, obviously as a freebie, write your native language there with a 50. So, I think we have English, Polish, English, and German as your native languages. So those are all free at 50. And then whatever you get from your profession, the bonus I gave you, which is another one at 50 or 2 at 30, your choice. And then you can also use those bonus skill points for languages if you want.
How many? It was 8?
8. 20 points into 8. 20 points to 8 skills. And again, adding to the base if there is one. And I'm going to leave this on you guys. You know, I'm not going to police it in any way. But if you think it's, some of these are high because it's assuming you are a base Delta Green agent. If you think it's kind of crazy that your character has a base of unarmed combat of 40, don't go ahead and then add another 20 with the base skill. Maybe shy away from that.
I'll lower it from an 80.
Jesse. Right. His antique dealer was 70 unarmed combat or something crazy.
Got his black belt, I guess.
No, it was a 60 because
Everybody's
he
good.
had a 40 plus 20.
What's your search, Jake?
Search? I'm failing to search for that skill.
It's on the right.
It's in alphabetical order. That's the start.
Yeah. I didn't take search.
Okay, I did. I was just double checking.
Took a lot of alertness instead. I'm a bit twitchy.
All right. And then under, also note when you pick your professions, it gives you, everybody did pick a profession to base it off. That gives you a number of starting bonds. I think they vary from 2 to 4. So we have, what are you guys still working on skills?
Done with skills.
Almost done.
Jake, what do you have for bonds?
3.
3. Devin?
3.
Matt?
Trace.
Dan?
4.
4. Okay.
Oh, wait. I have 4 as well then.
Yep. I don't know. Didn't know if you just modified it or not, but I'm pretty sure at the bottom of criminal.
Oh, wait, sorry. I'm 4. I was looking at the wrong. I got 4 bonds.
All right.
Yep. Criminal has got 4.
There is also, because these are pretty specific in terms of skills. If you need to kind of check the descriptions of any of the skills, they're obviously listed on there. So bonds. Bonds are the most important relationships in your life. Commonly loved ones, partners, family members, close friends, military buddies, in Delta Green could be fellow agents. Before we get too much further, what do you guys think about your personal history? Do you guys want to know each other pretty well? Or do you want to be relatively newly introduced?
Let's do an introduction episode.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think that'll be fun.
Okay. Almost like a
first mission together thing. I don't know.
A briefing? Or
a mission.
a mission?
But
A mission.
Our first. Let's
Okay.
start at the beginning.
Start at the beginning.
Watch someone die.
I assume that Devin is in charge of this motley crew.
Yes. That's my assumption. We'll talk about it, but
He's the only actual British character.
It's going to be very different than normal military hierarchy. And obviously this will come up in game. You guys are going to get a mission briefing and everything, but there's going to be a formality. You are the only uniformed British service member. And this is coming from, in some form or fashion, from the British military, but you guys are not a military organization. So you are, Devin, your character is probably going to be in charge and accountable in some ways. But I think how the mission will be described is that you guys are going to have to rely on your skills in the field, and have, it will probably, the onus will be on you, Devin, in that they're kind of putting you in charge, but telling you.
It's just my job to disseminate the information that I'm briefed on. Yep.
And that, when it comes to actually operating in the field, there may be times when you will probably be the one to say, like, all right, you're going to run point for this. But I do kind of like that pressure element on you, because there will be some element of hierarchy.
Thanks. It's my drow priestess all over again.
So bonds. We're going to pick our bonds here. I want these to be people that you can interact with to some form or fashion. But again, as we've discussed before, and we did an Ithaca project, it is possible for these to be people that you're not going to be able to see routinely or maybe ever face to face. If you do that and you have scenes with a bond, either because you suffer a loss in that bond because of projecting sanity loss on a bond, or another kind of, there's some other ways you can lose skills in bonds, or lose scores in bonds as kind of a repercussion of things that happen in the game. We can be creative. We can do this through flashbacks. We can do it by letters. We can do it by your,
TikToks,
kind of having a moment of personal reflection about a thing, having a memento of someone. But definitely, I want you guys at least to all have some that you can do face to face. So think of what that would be. If they're going to be face to face, it's going to be in the UK. Normally, it's going to be pretty hard for that to happen otherwise, but not impossible, like I said. And think of these as not static. That's the whole thing about a bond in Delta Green. This is a connection that your character relies on. When things go badly in your life, that relationship can suffer. So try to think of it in that context. Just to say, I have an older brother who's, he's in the British Navy, and he's, serving in the Pacific Fleet. All right, that's cool. Can you think of how, you're probably not going to be able to see or talk to him, but I could still see a way of making that work. You just have to kind of picture that. Like how is that relationship going to be able to be dynamic?
Yeah, you could do, all sorts of things. Like you could get a letter that he died.
That would be eliminating a bond.
Yep.
And they can also be, you can have bonds with an organization, a group. You might have a bond with your local church. If you're very religious and you're a regular churchgoer, you might just say, St. Thomas's Parish. It doesn't, it's normally an individual, but it doesn't have to be. And obviously it would be best to give them a name, but we don't need a name today. If you just want to write your brother, your former commanding officer, that's fine for now.
Do you want us to share them as we come up with them?
Yeah.
Do you want to hear? I have 2 out of the 3. One of them is the CO of the training camp, or like the person in charge. I think my character served with him in World War I. And they're both, older. They're contemporaries. And he was probably the one responsible, for convincing the SOE to bring in my character. And then there's I had this idea that there's a telephone operator that he would get all the time when he was doing his researching and things like that, calling out to bases. But he's only ever spoken to her on the phone.
That's cool.
Her name's Peggy.
Peggy the peg pusher.
The book puts this pretty well. after the basic description. It says bonds are not merely motivations or things your agent likes. They are your agent's connections to humanity. An agent with no bonds is more susceptible to psychological trauma than one who has people waiting back home. So if you think about something horrible, awful that your character goes through, what are the relationships that they would go to for that? So is it that church? Is it their mother? Is it a former comrade? That's kind of the way to think about it, because that's how it'll also manifest in game. You deflect, sanity damage onto a bond. It's because you're going through shit that's going to distance that relationship. It's going to affect your ability to relate to that person.
I got 4
You got 4
names.
fucking names. This guy.
All right, first,
If you guys had gone with the other choice, there'd be a fucking little inspiration point going over there with all these names.
that's all right.
You can't do anything.
I hope karma pays me back with good luck. First one, Agatha French. She is an orphan. She is probably 9 or 10 years old. Second, Herbert Vogel.
Wait, what is
Agatha French would be kind of like an adopted daughter. His daughter was killed in Poland, so
Okay.
she is kind of a replacement.
okay? This is someone in Britain.
Yes, in Britain, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Second is Herbert Vogel. He is Adrian's neighbor. He's a veteran. He's also a cripple. So Adrian, it reminds him of is sort of a fatherly figure to him. Older man that he kind of helps take care of when he can and kind of has those conversations with, looking for advice kind of thing. He's been through a lot of the same stuff. He just has no legs. So he's looks at life a little bit differently than Adrian.
Okay. Did he get out of Poland or still back there?
He is in England. He's
Okay.
In England. Third would be Alexei Dabrowski. He is his uncle. He is still in Poland. And fourth would be Father Ovbrak. He's a Catholic priest.
In Poland?
No, in England.
In England. Someone you met in England?
Yes.
So Polish, but
Yes.
had emigrated on his own.
Yeah, probably pre-war went to England.
Okay. Is Adrian religious?
Has become more so in the last, 4 to 5 years since he lost his family.
Got it. That's cool.
I got my third one.
Okay.
He's a young priest, and my character suspects that he joined the clergy to avoid going to war.
Interesting.
And he, I don't know. I don't know what he thinks of me. That just came into my
Cool.
head.
I like that. Maybe somebody you knew in life before they became a priest, or no?
No, it's a priest, but it was like one day my character goes to confession, or maybe arrives in this new town, and the priest is a young man, who he probably tells him about the war and because he confesses his sins and all that stuff.
This is very cool because I can definitely immediately picture how this relationship could change with your experiences, right?
Yep.
I have 3. And before I tell you them, let me ask you something. Can I give up a bond, one of my 4, to be adapted to violence?
What is normally the cost for adaptation to violence?
I don't know.
So
Devin?
that is, we didn't get there yet. That is a part of character creation. So
I didn't know you could start with it. Okay.
Yeah.
you
you
can.
can.
We can look at it and just kind of see what the mechanical costs are. So sanity damage, if you guys remember, there are basically, when I say to roll on sanity, it's coming from 3 places: violence, helplessness or the unnatural. So you guys obviously from Ithaca Project have an idea of where the unnatural might come into play in this game. Violence is pretty straightforward. Helplessness is a lot of it is seeing things happen to people you care about. Some of it can, you can be adapted to violence and yet lose a comrade that you're extremely close to and still have to suffer or make a roll.
That's not
Violence
different necessarily. Right.
The violence is just the kind of the effect, seeing.
My thought was that my character is adapted to violence on the other end, on the end of dishing it out doesn't bother him.
Got it.
That's probably violence.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But as far as helplessness, I think he's quite susceptible to that.
Devin, while we're talking about this, do you mind? Can you look? Can you find where we can find that in the book?
We can stick a pin on that since we're coming around to it.
Go through the 3 bonds you have.
Right. 3 bonds. Madame Rossetti is a fortune teller, maybe in London. She's kind of just a con artist. I am kind of superstitious and go to her for advice, kind of knowing that it's really more about therapy. And, so she's someone who I can talk to without really saying I'm talking to someone about it. So I probably pay her to do this, to read my cards or whatever. His family is mostly dead, but he does have a nephew. His sister kind of saw what was happening and sent her son to England. So he has a nephew who is effectively an orphan who probably lives in an orphanage somewhere in England, who he tries to visit regularly because he isn't ever like home or doesn't have a stable sort of lifestyle. He can't really take care of him. And I think he feels guilty about that and kind of hopes that someday he'll be able to actually adopt him and take care of him. And then the third is Lita, who is a woman who is part of another Romani caravan that travels around France or
still out there.
Yeah, still out there. So someone I could potentially run into anywhere, who I, maybe before all this started, there was talk of us getting married, because they tend to leave you leave your caravan and go join another. That way they're not all incest.
Yep. It is a lot of kind of arranged marriages, right?
So I think that maybe there had been plans for that. There had been talk about that and they were excited about it. And it kind of just, now it's we never, the world happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
Found it?
Found it.
What page?
It's in the quick, the need to know document, the quick start guide, but I can just read them out. So extreme violence.
Oh, I found it too.
You get +10 in your occult skill. You take a -5 to your sanity. You lose 3 from charisma, which means you don't lose a bond. You get -3 from each bond, and you are adapted to violence.
So I will say you can, I'll let you lose 1 bond completely, but you still have to suffer the charisma loss. And again, realize that your statistics, I guess I would say, are less important than in D&D. You know what I mean? You're only rolling, almost always you're rolling your skills. So you could have a lower charisma and still have, a high persuade. It's not exactly corollary to how we usually think of our D&D based, everything directly attributes to an attribute. But I did find this, there are 4 ways. The one thing I would modify is the occult skill. There are 4 ways you can be adapted. They call it damaged veterans. Extreme violence. You're adapted to violence, and as Devin said, +10 to occult. I would say I'd say something different. It could be a cult.
Or the weapon of your choice.
Yeah, I would say plus 10 to a skill that we can discuss. Reduction of the sanity and the reduction of your charisma, which would normally be 3 from each bond. If you wanted to instead keep those original bonds at their original level and lose 1 bond completely, I think I'm fine with that.
I think I don't know if that represents this, but when you start your bonds, their values are your charisma score.
Yes. Normally they would be, but I think mathematically it would work out the same. And I think I'm fine with the difference in it. The other is to adapt to helplessness. They call it captivity or imprisonment. It could be something else, but it would have to be something pretty specific for you to be adapted to helplessness.
I mean, he was in a prison camp.
Well, I think that, yeah, but that would could go the opposite way too, and make you more prone to having, a breakdown if you're imprisoned. Which is the interesting thing about the idea of being adapted to things. Like,
Sure.
yeah.
It's realizing being adapted just means that your sanity is lower, and it's not that you like that shit. Like if you're adapted to violence, you're not like a psychopath. You don't love violence. It just doesn't shake you anymore.
Sure.
So being adapted to helplessness doesn't necessarily mean like you wouldn't want to be imprisoned, but just it's the idea that like the world is going to do horrible things to the people you love, and you probably can't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the other one. It reduces your POW instead of your charisma. There's also hard experience. You reduce your sanity by 5. You remove 1 bond completely. And actually, this could be more for you, Jake. You add 10 to your occult and 10 to any other 4 skills other than an unnatural. And then the things man was not meant to know. I don't think we're going to use this one. This is about the unnatural.
Yeah, that probably does make more sense. But, I mean, I don't really know that I need the skill points, but...
Take them.
There's a cost. It's lowering your sanity.
Criminalize a lot.
And I think, you've seen some violence, but, have you seen enough violence?
Sure.
You've seen some shit, but like adapted to violence usually means you've been through a lot.
I also, the most fun part of Delta Green is going crazy, so I don't want to make it harder to do
I think hard experience might fit you better.
Okay.
And then, you get a little juice out of it. And I think, you have some occult already?
No, but I'll take it.
Yeah. And that will add to, if there is any base in occult, that will add to it. I think there is a 10.
Yeah.
And 4 other skills. Dan, any bonds?
Yeah, I got 4. Carrion Fitzgerald. He is a criminal that I worked with. He was also jailed the same time I was. And I kind of feel like can be an ongoing exchange in the relationship as he's still stuck in jail and I'm out, and what that kind of might bring up over the course of our relationship, especially if I go back to visit him, things like that. He's in England. Anders Isaacson is one of the only members of my unit from my mandatory service in the Swedish military that still talks to me after the whole debacle.
Still in Sweden?
Still in Sweden.
Yep.
Professor Edward Clark. He is a professor in England who had hoped for me as a student, but since my dropout, I have still kept a correspondence or relationship with. Probably initially used him for, unbeknownst to him, to maybe target certain works of art, certain things I stole. And there's probably some sort of redemptive relationship there. And then Sophia King, she was a love interest in college that he kind of pines after, but is, I think, maybe unrequited.
Unrequited.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So a couple of the finishing touches, obviously, name for anybody who doesn't have it. You can put your employer as
SOE?
the British government.
Ah, love it.
You can put SOE in parentheses.
His Majesty's government?
Profession, I would say profession, write your high concept in profession. Your nationality, education, age, date of birth. I think we kind of went over all that. The last thing really on the sheet is your motivations. It says you can start with up to 5. I would encourage you guys to have at least 3, and if you can, up to 5. You guys have made pretty well-rounded characters. Think about what drives these characters. And one thing that's interesting in Delta Green, whenever you reach a breaking point, you remove a motivation, and that may be replaced with the disorder. So, just because this is the character sheet I was looking at in front of me, my character from Devin's game, Tommy Velasco, of the actual Delta Green game we played, he was a veteran, Army veteran, paramedic in Boston. He had 5 motivations: fix broken things, parentheses, bodies, help the unfortunate, get the rush, adrenaline, stick it to the man, and sweat it out. They help to drive, putting them to paper helps to drive, especially when you get to home scenes and you guys are going to be on a mission. So you're not going to need motivation to get the mission done. But when you think about like why your character is there and what you do in your downtime, that might kind of help to relate to that. And, obviously maybe one or more of the motivations should probably in some way tie into why you guys are doing what you're doing, which is engaging in a borderline suicidal profession. Perhaps the most dangerous path you could choose for this person. Why are you doing that? And why do you do anything? That's kind of what you want for your motivations. If you have any now, write them down. If not, these can be things you can work on the offside. One thing I want to go through really quick here as we wrap up, because this will help me, is I'm just going to run through the skills. We're going to get through them, talk a little bit about languages, and then if there's any skills, anything you think isn't covered by skills that you think your character would be good at. Like we said before, examples would be, actually I did see locksmithing was
it's under craft. Yep.
But skydiving, for example. So
actually in forgeries under art. Yeah, I thought it was going to be under craft, but it's under art.
I guess I would consider that what kind of forgery you're doing.
Yeah, but then it goes on to list other things too.
And actually, especially in Delta Green, when we're talking pre-computers and stuff like that, forgery, you are,
it's a powerful asset.
Yeah, and it is a more kind of artistic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, accounting. Anybody got anything over base?
No.
Alertness.
Imagine Jake and I both have 50.
I have 50 as well.
40.
I have a 70.
Okay.
And sorry, going before we do that, names. Does anybody have names besides Adrian Zanuski? And I'm sorry, Dan, you said yours. I didn't write it down.
Leo Krona.
Leo, can you spell that?
Krona, Crona.
Krona. Okay. Jake or Devin?
Nope.
Okay. Anthropology?
Nope.
40.
40. Archaeology?
20.
Art?
50.
What?
Forgery.
Forgery. Okay. Forgery. Dan, 50. Artillery?
20.
Okay. Nice to have somebody that can pull,
Like a mortar.
pull the lanyard if needed.
Yeah.
Athletics?
50.
50.
60.
Bureaucracy?
50.
Technology?
40.
Craft?
I have mechanic 60 And electronics 40.
Right, electrical.
Oh yeah, electrical.
Locksmithing 40.
Electrical 20.
What'd you have in locksmithing, Dan?
40.
Electrical was what, Matt? 40?
40.
And mechanics was
60.
60.
Wow.
Criminology?
40.
60.
Demolitions?
70.
The lone
There it
70.
Disguise.
30.
30.
70.
Fucking A. All right. Dodge.
50.
40.
40.
Drive.
40.
50.
30.
Firearms.
40.
40.
40.
60. Where do you guys put your points?
First aid.
40.
Oh, yeah. This whole category, I have nothing.
The middle column.
Most of the middle column.
Forensics.
40.
Heavy machinery.
50.
You know, this is what I love about Delta Green is like the, you know, as much as I say like I like D&D 5e because it simplifies things, cut down skills, the ability to make it a really fleshed out character and to give all these different opportunities for people to shine.
Yep.
That's kind of where you like having a list like this, you know?
It's great because you always feel like when you make a Delta Green character, you're like, I got to get all the skills I wanted. Like, I don't feel like I was missing anything.
It's the
D&D
only
is the opposite. They like want you to feel like I got to advance and get better.
It's the only character creation that I felt like I finished and I was like, I can do everything I pictured this character could do.
It's also the only game where like you are never as good as when you started.
Right. You might get a little bit better at skills, but you're going downhill otherwise. Heavy weapons.
20.
History.
50.
40.
Human.
50.
Nice. Law.
20.
Medicine. Pow, 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 pow. Melee weapons.
We forgot Scully, guys.
40.
It's a great opportunity to have that doctor in GBC. I'm sorry, melee weapons.
50.
40.
Military science.
Land 20.
Land 40.
Dope.
Navigate.
40.
70.
Occult.
30.
20.
Persuade.
70.
50.
40.
Nice. Pharmacy.
Medic.
Pilot. You need a pilot, doctor, accountant. Psychotherapy. Ride.
30.
Science.
Crickets.
Search.
40.
50.
SIGINT.
60.
Stealth.
60.
50.
Surgery. Guess no. Survival.
30.
70.
Jeez. Wow.
Swim.
40.
Unarmed combat.
50.
50.
And nobody's got a natural. All right. Languages. How do I do this here? Let me write a few languages.
Write a few languages.
Jake, what do you have for languages?
Native German, and then a 50 English and a 50 Russian. A 20 Italian and a 20 Romani.
Would you get the 20s from a profession or from my little?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I think I spent one of my 8 times 20s on one of them, and then the other. Remember, I switched out like law or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Devin?
I have English, German, and French at 50. I have Russian at 40. And then I have my specialty training in German military terminology.
Matt?
Polish 50. Russian 40. English and German 30.
Make your Russian 50, Matt.
Okay.
Dan?
English, Swedish, and German, all at 50.
We could pass for some krauts.
Pretty fucking cool. 8 languages between you guys.
Damn.
All right. I think that about does it. You guys pretty much complete. Names for your bonds if you don't have them. Motivations. And
one more thing to do.
Luck roll.
Oh, shit. Thank you, Jake. Luck roll.
The most anticipated roll of the only roll. No hit point roll.
Only roll the evening. And we will not roll to gain luck at the start of the first session.
All right.
That's too high. I rolled an 85.
85.
That's too much.
Use it.
55.
Critical luck.
Dan,
What'd you get?
20.
20.
can I give Dan some of my
Wait.
luck?
No. I rolled a 2. I have 2.
Dan has 2.
You should give Dan a luck roll in the
You
first
used all
session.
your luck getting out of prison.
Jake has 85.
Can I give Dan some of my luck?
Nope.
It seems a little disproportionate.
Nope. It's luck.
We
It's luck.
chose the roll.
Hey, who would be lucky other than the Mad Gypsy Bomber? Devin, what'd you end up with?
57.
57. Matt?
55.
All right, couple right down Main Street, a couple extremes. I think that's about perfect.
Average, yeah.
Yeah.
We averaged out.
Yeah, I think you guys probably averaged out to about 50.
Yeah.
So there we are. The unnamed Ithaca Project follow-up.
2. Fuck off.
That's pretty incredible. That'd be a great role in almost any other capacity. Yeah. The only other question, what's everybody's starting sanity? Is Jake the only one taking any of the damaged veteran adaptions?
Yes.
No one else is considering any of
I
those?
don't know if my prison time. Yeah.
Yes, but... No, go ahead.
I was just going to say I have a high sanity just because of my statistics. I have a 75. So maybe I'll bring that down with some prison time.
Yeah, I have 70, but I would like to take... I don't want to be adapted to violence or helplessness, but I would like to check one of each of the boxes. And I would like to drop my sanity from 70.
Drop your sanity, one check in each box. So the way the boxes work too, you check a box when you suffer sanity damage, but you do not reach your breaking point. You become adapted when you have 3 check boxes. If you reach a breaking point, you erase all of your check boxes. So essentially, you know, when you're taking one of these adaptions of character creation, you're simulating that you suffered sanity loss. Like you failed, not just you were exposed to it, you failed 3 times in that type of sanity damage and didn't reach your breaking point. So, Matt, I think that's fair. I would say if you want one box in each.
I mean, I'd say he's definitely experienced violence, having been in the military, killed people, seen friends of his die around him. And then helplessness, a checked box because his family was taken while he was away. So he feels responsible for them being gone because he wasn't there to protect them.
Here's what I'll have you do. Roll 2d6 for sanity damage and pick one bond and roll
What's your bond
8.
score?
your bond score is equal to your charisma. One bond and roll 1d4 charisma damage to that bond.
Just your flat charisma score, not your...
Correct. Yep.
I'm just going to roll 1d4 to pick the bond and then a
Okay.
d4 to see which one or for how much. So, Agatha French, the young orphan, is going to lose 3 points.
Okay.
How do you determine the score for each bond?
It's equal to your flat charisma score, not the times 5. So your starting charisma score is your bond score for all of your bonds.
All right. Agatha is at a 6 and everybody else is at a 9.
Maybe just maybe a box in helplessness, having served time in prison. There's a certain amount of actually, I don't know how long he's been in prison. I don't think he's been in very long.
Yeah, doesn't seem too helpless.
Were you in a Swedish prison though?
No, I was in an English prison.
Yeah, Swedish
I'm an English and a Swedish citizen. I'll put it in it. I'll come back to it when I do the motivations and stuff.
Yeah. And realize that when you do it, if you do reach adapting in game, there are also negative consequences.
Sure.
Yeah.
Of course.
Just like a character creation, you're going to suffer damage to bonds. You're going to suffer damage to a score. It's not necessarily a good thing. It just slightly reduces your sanity slide, but you're losing things elsewhere. Delta Green is a game about loss. And that's why I'm excited to use this system in this capacity. So I think that's about it. Anything else? Any questions? Any comments?
I'm psyched.
Very excited.
Excited.
Can't wait to start out fucking doomed.
Everyone go practice your accents.
I already know what happened in part 1, so we'll be fine.
You're good.
Good.
Player wise, you're good. All right. And we'll see you back for episode 1.
Bye.
Peace.
A police car and a screaming siren, pneumatic drill, ripped up concrete, a baby wailing, straight out howling, a screech of brakes and lamp lights blinking. That's entertainment. That's entertainment.
That's nasty.